Commander Jake Morrison stood at the big window of the space station. He watched the alien ships coming toward Earth. They looked like dark spots against the stars, but there were hundreds of them. His hands were shaking as he counted more and more ships appearing in the distance. 3 months ago, the Galactic Council had made their choice. Every alien race in the galaxy had voted the same way. They all wanted to make humans their slaves. They wanted to take everything from Earth and make humans work for them on different planets far from home. Jake remembered the day when the vote happened. He was in the command center when the message came through the quantum radio. Dr. Lisa Parker was there too. She was the smartest person on Earth when it came to studying aliens. Lisa had been watching the vote happen through the space communication system. Lisa told Jake what she saw that day. The council meeting room was huge and filled with different kinds of aliens. Some looked like walking crystals that sparkled in the light. Others were like clouds of gas that moved around in special suits. There were tall gray beings with big eyes and short green creatures with too many arms. One by one, each alien race stood up and said they wanted to make humans their slaves. The crystal beings called the Vortex spoke first. Their leader made sounds like breaking glass when he talked. He said humans were too violent and needed to be controlled. The gas cloud aliens called the Nexari agreed. They said humans grew too fast and learned too much. The worst part was when the old aliens called the Ethereals voted. They have been alive for millions of years and other aliens respected them. When they said humans were not good enough to be free in the galaxy, all the other aliens nodded their heads. Jake felt sick when Lisa told him about the vote. Every single alien race voted against Earth. Not one of them spoke up for humans. They all agreed that humans were dangerous and needed to be stopped. The message was clear. Humans had to give up their weapons. They had to stop their armies. They had to get ready to be taken away from Earth to work as slaves on alien worlds. If humans said no, the aliens would bomb Earth until nothing was left alive. Dr. Rick Bolton was in charge of talking to the aliens. He was a tough man who had been in many space battles. But even Rick looked worried when he got the final message from the alien fleet. The alien admiral was called Vexstar, and he was from a group called the Dominion Coalition. Admiral Vexstar's message was short and mean. He said humans had 1 day to surrender. They had to put down their weapons and wait to be processed like cattle. Any human who fought back would be killed. Any city that resisted would be destroyed from space. Rick played the message for everyone in the command center. The alien's voice was deep and cold. He spoke like humans were insects that needed to be stepped on. The other aliens in the background made clicking and hissing sounds that meant they were excited about the coming invasion. But what the aliens did not know was that humans had been getting ready for this day. The 3 months of talking and trying to make peace had been a trick. While the aliens thought humans were begging for mercy, Earth's best scientists and soldiers were working on secret projects. Dr. Kevin Rodriguez was one of those scientists. He worked in a hidden lab deep underground. For years he had been studying how human brains work together. He discovered that humans could share thoughts and feelings in ways that aliens could not understand. Kevin had built machines that could connect every human brain on Earth. Lieutenant Amy Foster was training in the mountains when the alien ships arrived. She was part of a special program that taught normal people how to fight like professional soldiers. Amy used to be a school teacher, but now she could shoot a rifle and make bombs. All across Earth, millions of people like Amy were getting ready to fight. The aliens had studied human armies and thought they knew how humans fought. They expected to fight against soldiers in uniforms with tanks and planes. They did not expect to fight against everyone. They did not know that every human farmer could become a sniper. Every office worker could become a spy. Every child could become a messenger. Jake watched the alien ships get closer to Earth. He could see the big motherships that carried thousands of alien soldiers. There were smaller ships that looked like metal arrows flying around the big ones. The aliens were confident that they would win easily. In the cities below, humans were getting ready. They were not running away or hiding. Instead, they were taking positions and checking their weapons. The aliens thought they were invading a planet full of scared people. Instead, they were about to attack a planet where every single person was ready to fight back. Dr. Lisa Parker was in the underground command center now. She was watching the alien ships on her computer screen. Lisa had learned to understand many alien languages during her years of study. She could hear the aliens talking to each other on their radio channels. The aliens sounded happy and excited. They were talking about how easy this invasion would be. They were already planning how to divide up Earth's forces among themselves. Some aliens wanted the oceans, others wanted the forests, and some wanted the mountains where humans mined metals, but Lisa knew something the aliens did not know. While they were making plans to steal everything from Earth, humans had been making plans too. Earth's scientists had taken apart alien technology that crashed on Earth years ago. They had figured out how alien weapons worked and built better. Captain Helen Davis was in charge of defending the city of Chicago. She had been a police officer before the aliens came, but now she was leading a group of fighters. Helen's team was not just soldiers. It included doctors, engineers, cooks, and even some teenagers who were too young to be in the regular army. Helen looked at her team and felt proud. These people had never fought in a war before, but they were ready to defend their home. The aliens thought humans were weak because they cared about each other. They did not understand that caring about each other made humans stronger, not weaker. The alien ships were now close enough that people on Earth could see them with their eyes. They blocked out the sun and cast shadows on the ground. The ships were huge and covered with weapons that could destroy entire cities. But the humans below were not afraid. Commander Jake Morrison got the final report from his scouts. The alien fleet had more than 2,000 ships. They carried millions of alien soldiers from dozens of different races. It was the biggest invasion force in galactic history. The aliens were sure that nothing could stop them. Jake smiled as he read the report. The aliens had made one big mistake. They thought that having more ships and more soldiers meant they would win. But humans had learned something important from their history. Sometimes the smaller army wins because they want to win more than the bigger army. The countdown began. In a few hours, the aliens would start their attack. They would send their soldiers down to Earth expecting an easy victory. Instead, they would learn why every species in the galaxy had voted to make humans their slaves. They would learn that humans were not dangerous because they were evil. Humans were dangerous because they never gave up as the alien ships prepared to attack. Humans all over Earth were getting ready to show them what a real fight looked like. The aliens had voted to subjugate Earth. Now they were about to find out what that vote would really cost them. The first alien ships broke through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. Admiral Vextar watched from his command ship as hundreds of dropships headed toward the major cities. He was confident this would be over quickly. His scouts had told him that humans were primitive and would surrender after seeing the size of his fleet. Lieutenant Amy Foster crouched in her concrete bunker outside New York City. Through her binoculars, she could see the alien ships landing in Central Park. The ships were black and shaped like teardrops. Steam rose from their hot metal as they touched the ground. Doors opened and alien soldiers poured out. Amy had never seen real aliens before, but she was not scared. She had been training for this moment for months. Her radio crackled with voices from other bunkers around the city. Everyone was in position and ready. The Vortex soldiers were the first to leave their ships. They looked like walking crystals that caught the sunlight and threw it back in rainbow colors. Each one was 8 feet tall and had 4 arms that ended in sharp claws. They moved slowly and carefully like they were walking on ice. Behind the Vortex came the Nexari in their environmental suits. The gas aliens needed special armor to survive in Earth's atmosphere. Their suits were round and clear, showing the swirling colors of their gaseous bodies inside. They floated a few feet off the ground and made humming sounds as they moved. Dr. Kevin Rodriguez was in the secret command center buried deep under the Rocky Mountains. His fingers flew over the keyboard as he activated the neural link system. For 3 years he had been working on this project. Now it was time to see if it would work. All across Earth, humans felt a strange tingling in their heads. It was like waking up from a dream, but instead of becoming more awake, they became connected to everyone else. Kevin's machines linked every human brain on the planet into one big network. Amy Foster felt the connection happen. Suddenly, she could sense other humans all around the world. She knew where her teammates were without looking. She could feel their thoughts and emotions. More importantly, she could share information with them instantly. The alien soldiers expected to find scattered groups of humans hiding in buildings. Instead, they found something they had never seen before. Every human on Earth was now part of a single fighting force. When one human saw an alien, all humans knew about it immediately. Captain Helen Davis led her team through the ruins of downtown Chicago. The aliens had bombed some buildings to scare the humans, but Helen's people were not running away. They were leading the aliens into a trap. Helen's team included people from all walks of life. There was Pete, who used to fix cars. There was Maria, who taught children at school. There was old Frank, who had been a farmer his whole life. Now they all moved together like they had been soldiers for years, the Kelrani. Aliens followed Helen's team into the city streets. The Kelrani looked like giant insects with 6 legs and hard shells that shone like metal. They carried energy weapons that could cut through steel. They thought they were hunting scared humans, but they were wrong. Maria, the teacher, was hiding on the roof of a tall building. She watched the Kelrani soldiers walk into the street below. Through the neural link, she told Pete and Frank exactly where the aliens were. The connection was so clear that Pete could see through Maria's eyes while he aimed his rifle. The trap was perfect. As the Kelrani reached the middle of the street, humans attacked from all sides. Pete shot the alien leader from a window. Frank threw a bomb that exploded under the alien soldiers. Maria used a laser pointer to guide a missile from 3 blocks away. The aliens were confused and scared. They had studied human military tactics, but this was different. The humans were not fighting like any army the aliens had seen before. They were fighting like a single organism with thousands of eyes and hands. Dr. Lisa Parker was monitoring alien communications from her post in the command center. She listened to the panic in the alien voices as their neat invasion plan fell apart. The aliens were losing soldiers faster than they could count them. On the alien command ship, Admiral Vexstar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His forces were supposed to be taking control of human cities, but instead they were being destroyed. The red dots on his screen showed alien units going dark one by one. The Ethereals had promised this would be easy. They had said humans were just smart animals who would run when faced with superior force, but these humans were not running. They were fighting back with weapons and tactics that made no sense. Captain Rick Bolton was leading the space battle above Earth. His ship was much smaller than the alien motherships, but it was faster and more maneuverable. Rick's crew worked together like they shared one mind, because now they actually did. The alien ships were designed to fight other alien ships. They expected slow, careful battles where both sides took turns shooting at each other. Rick's ship danced between the alien weapons, striking weak points and disappearing before the aliens could respond. Engineer Paul Martinez was in the ship's engine room, but he could see the battle through Rick's eyes thanks to the neural link. Paul adjusted the ship's power systems to match Rick's flying style perfectly. When Rick needed more speed, Paul gave him more speed. When Rick needed stronger shields, Paul shifted power instantly. The aliens could not understand how the small human ship was beating their massive fleet. They sent 10 ships to surround it, but the human ships seemed to know where they were going before they got there. It was like the humans could read their minds in the cities below. The alien ground invasion was becoming a disaster. The Vorthak soldiers were strong and tough, but they were used to fighting enemies who stood still and shot at them. The humans never stayed in one place long enough to be hit. Amy Foster's bunker was empty now. She and her team had moved to 3 different locations in the past hour. Each time the aliens found where they had been, the humans were already somewhere else. Attacking from a new direction, the neural link let humans coordinate in ways that seemed impossible. When Amy needed ammunition, she knew exactly where to find it. When her teammate Ben was wounded, he knew exactly where to go for help. When the aliens tried to surround them, the humans already had an escape route planned. Dr. Kevin Rodriguez watched the battle data flowing through his computers. The neural link was working better than he had hoped. Humans were sharing not just information, but skills and experiences. A farmer who had never used a gun could fight like a soldier because he was connected to real soldiers. A teacher who had never seen combat could plan tactics because she was linked to military experts. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. They thought humans were dangerous because they were violent. But humans were not more violent than other species. They were more adaptable. They learned faster, worked together better, and never gave up. As the first day of invasion ended, Admiral Vexstar received reports from his commanders. The reports were all the same. Alien forces were retreating from every major city. Thousands of alien soldiers were dead or missing. The human resistance was stronger than anyone had predicted. The admiral looked at his tactical display and felt fear for the first time in his long military career. The red dots showing alien losses covered the entire planet. The humans were not just defending themselves. They were winning. In the command center under the mountains, Dr. Lisa Parker smiled as she listened to the alien communications. The aliens were scared and confused. They were asking each other how the primitive humans had become so dangerous so quickly. The answer was simple. The humans had been dangerous all along. The aliens had just been too proud to see it. Now they were learning what it meant to fight a species that refused to give up, refused to surrender, and refused to be slaves. The war was just beginning, but the aliens were already starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake. They had voted to subjugate Earth. Now they were discovering what Earth could do when it fought back. Admiral Vexstar stood in his command room staring at the battle screens. The numbers showed something that should have been impossible. His massive invasion fleet was losing to the humans. Not just losing ground, but actually being pushed back into space. The alien admiral had conquered 12 different worlds in his career. He had defeated armies with better weapons and stronger soldiers. But he had never fought anything like the humans. They seemed to know what his forces were going to do before they did it. Engineer Paul Martinez worked in the underground factories beneath Denver. His team had spent the last 3 months taking apart alien technology that had crashed on Earth years ago. Now they were building weapons that combined alien science with human creativity. Paul's latest invention was a ship that could bend space around itself. The alien ships were faster than anything humans had built before, but Paul's new ship could appear and disappear like magic. It used alien engines, but with human improvements that made them twice as powerful. The first test flight had been amazing. The human pilot could jump from one side of the solar system to the other in seconds. When the alien ships tried to follow, they found empty space. The human ship was already behind them, shooting at their weak spots. Colonel Nina Williams was getting ready for the most dangerous mission of her life. She was going to take a team of soldiers onto the Nexari command ship. The gas aliens thought their ship was safe in space, but they were wrong. Nina's team was different from any military unit in history. They were connected through the neural link, so they could coordinate perfectly. When one soldier saw an enemy, all soldiers knew about it instantly. When one soldier found a weakness, all soldiers could use that knowledge. The boarding pods launched from the human ship like bullets. They were small and fast, designed to punch through alien armor and deliver soldiers directly inside enemy ships. The Nexari had never seen anything like them. Nina felt the impact as her pod crashed through the alien ship's hull. Emergency lights flashed red as the ship's atmosphere rushed out through the hole. Nina and her team wore special suits that let them breathe in space, but the gas aliens needed their atmosphere to survive. The Nexari soldiers floated toward the breach, trying to fix the damage. They moved slowly in their environmental suits, not used to fighting in emergencies. Nina's team moved fast, using the confusion to take control of key areas of the ship through the neural link. Nina could feel what her teammates were experiencing. Johnson was fighting aliens in the engine room. Roberts was taking control of the ship's weapons. Davis was planting bombs near the life support systems. The Nexari had never fought enemies who could coordinate like this. They were used to slow, Methodical battles where both sides took time to plan their moves. Nina's team struck everywhere at once, faster than the aliens could react. Dr. Marcus Johnson was monitoring communications from his post on Earth. He could hear the panic in alien voices as reports came in from across the galaxy. Human colonies that were supposed to be easy targets were fighting back with weapons the aliens had never seen before. On the planet Kepler 452b, a human mining colony had been attacked by Kelrani forces. The aliens expected to find a few thousand scared miners with basic tools. Instead, they found a fully armed fortress with weapons that could destroy alien ships from the ground. The human colonists had been preparing for this day just like the people on Earth. They had built underground factories and trained every person to fight. When the aliens landed, they walked into a trap that had been months in the making. The Kelrani soldiers were tough and hard to kill, but the human colonists had learned their weaknesses. The insect-like aliens could not see very well in bright light. The humans used powerful floodlights to blind them, then attacked with weapons that cut through their armor. On the space station orbiting Jupiter, Commander Jake Morrison received reports from human colonies throughout the solar system. Every report said the same thing: the aliens were losing. Not just losing battles, but losing entire fleets and armies. Jake had been worried about the outer colonies. They were far from Earth and had fewer people to defend them. But the neural link connected humans across space just like it connected them on Earth. A colonist on Mars could share knowledge with a soldier on Earth. Instantly, the alien fleets that attacked the asteroid belt found miners who fought like professional soldiers. The aliens that attacked the moon bases discovered that humans had turned their mining equipment into weapons. Every human outpost had become a fortress, and every human civilian had become a warrior. Captain Helen Davis led her team through the streets of Chicago, but now they were not defending the city. They were hunting the aliens who had tried to take it. The Vortex soldiers who had seemed so powerful a few days ago were now running and hiding. Helen's team had grown from a few dozen people to several hundred. As word spread that the aliens could be beaten, more humans joined the fight. Teachers, doctors, shopkeepers, and students all wanted to help drive the invaders away. The crystal aliens were strong and their weapons were powerful, but they were slow and predictable. Helen's people moved through the city like water, flowing around obstacles and striking where the aliens were weakest. The worst part for the aliens was not knowing where the humans would attack next. The neural link let human fighters share information instantly. When a scout saw alien movements on the north side of the city, fighters on the south side knew about it immediately. Dr. Lisa Parker was translating alien communications when she heard something that made her smile. The ethereals, the ancient aliens who had lived for millions of years, were asking other species for help. The beings who had called humans unfit for galactic citizenship were admitting they could not handle humans alone. The ethereals had sent a message to every species in the galaxy. They said the human threat was worse than anyone had imagined. They begged other aliens to send more ships, more soldiers, more weapons, but the other species were having their own problems with humans. The Zephyrians had lost 3 fleets to human attacks. The gas aliens were used to fighting in nebulae and asteroid fields where they could hide in clouds and dust. But human ships could track them through any environment and strike with precision weapons. The Vorthic Collective had lost contact with dozens of their colonies. The crystal beings shared a group mind that let them coordinate their actions. But human quantum weapons could disrupt their mental connections, leaving individual Vorthak confused and helpless. Captain Rick Bolton was leading the space battle above Earth, but now his small fleet was chasing the alien motherships. The huge alien vessels that had seemed so threatening were now trying to escape to deep space. Rick's new ship moved through the alien formation like a shark through a school of fish. Every time the aliens turned to fight, the human ship was somewhere else, attacking from a new direction. The aliens could not predict where it would appear next. The alien weapons were more powerful than human weapons, but they could not hit targets that moved so fast. Rick's ship danced between the alien laser beams, striking weak points and disappearing before the aliens could respond through the neural link. Rick could feel the excitement of humans all over the solar system. They were not just surviving the alien invasion, they were winning. Species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were being defeated by humans, who had only been in space for a few decades. Admiral Vextar watched his fleet falling apart around him. Half of his ships were destroyed or disabled. The other half were running away as fast as they could. The invasion that was supposed to take a few days had become a complete disaster. The alien admiral had received new orders from the Galactic Council. He was supposed to retreat and regroup with fleets from other species. The Council was sending every available ship to stop the human threat before it spread further. But Vextar knew it might already be too late. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had learned to build better weapons, faster ships, and stronger defenses. Every day they fought, they became more dangerous. As the alien ships fled toward deep space, the humans did not celebrate. They knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was full of alien species who had voted to make humans their slaves. Now, the humans were going to visit each of those species and show them what that vote had cost. The hunters had become the hunted. The war was far from over, but the aliens were starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake. They had awakened. Something they could not control, and now they would have to face the consequences. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Earth had not only survived the invasion, but had driven off the most powerful fleet in galactic history. Every alien species that had voted to subjugate humanity now faced a terrible reality. The humans were coming for them. Ambassador Rachel Morgan walked into the emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. But this time, she was not there to beg for mercy or ask for peace. She was there to deliver terms. The same aliens who had sentenced humanity to slavery now looked at her with fear in their eyes. The council chamber was different now. Many seats were empty because their representatives had fled back to their homeworlds. The ones who remained whispered nervously to each other. They had called this meeting hoping to find a way to stop the human advance. Rachel stood at the center of the chamber where prisoners used to be brought for judgment. Now she was the one delivering judgment. Her voice was calm and clear as she spoke to the assembled aliens. 3 months ago, you voted to make my people slaves, Rachel said. You decided that humans were too dangerous to be free. You were right. About one thing, we are dangerous, but not in the way you thought. The ethereal representative tried to speak, but Rachel continued. You thought we were dangerous because we were violent. You thought we would destroy everything we touched. But we are not here to destroy. We are here to collect what you owe us. Commander Ben Harris led the human fleet toward the Kelrani homeworld. The crystal beings had been the first to vote for human slavery. They had called humans barbaric and unfit for civilization. Now they were about to learn what real barbarity looked like. The Kelrani homeworld was a beautiful place. The entire planet was covered in crystal formations that grew like trees and mountains. The cities were carved from single giant crystals that sparkled in the light of their twin suns. It was a world that had never known war. Ben's ships appeared in the Kelrani system without warning. The human vessels used the new space-bending technology that Paul Martinez had developed. They could jump from one star system to another in minutes. Faster than any alien ship could follow, the Kelrani defense fleet tried to stop them, but it was hopeless. The crystal beings moved slowly and thought carefully about every action. Human ships moved like lightning, striking before the aliens could react. Within hours, the Kelrani homeworld was surrounded. Ben's ships blocked every route in and out of the system. No ships could leave and no supplies could arrive. The proud crystal beings were trapped on their own planet, but the humans did not attack the planet. They did not bomb the crystal cities or kill the innocent civilians. Instead, they broadcast a message to the entire population. You voted to make us slaves, the message said. Now you will learn what it means to be cut off from the galaxy. Your ships cannot leave. Your trade routes are closed. Your empire is ended. Think about what you have done. Lieutenant Sarah Fox was leading the attack on the Zephyrian Nebula colonies. The gas aliens had built their cities inside clouds of colorful gas that drifted through space. They thought they were safe in their hidden homes, but Sarah's team had developed new ways to find them. The Zephyrians were used to hiding in gas clouds where other species could not see them. Their ships could become invisible by matching the color and movement of the gas around them. It had worked against other aliens for thousands of years, but humans had learned to use different kinds of sensors. Sarah's ships could detect the electrical fields that the gas aliens created when they moved. They could track the heat signatures of Zephyrian cities. They could even follow the sound waves that traveled through the gas clouds. Sarah found the first Zephyrian colony hidden in a red nebula near the edge of their territory. The gas aliens had built their city inside a giant bubble of compressed atmosphere. Hundreds of Zephyrians lived there, floating in their natural gaseous forms. The humans surrounded the colony with a ring of ships. They used special devices that could create pressure waves in the gas cloud. The Zephyrians found themselves trapped in their own city, unable to escape into the surrounding nebula. "You called us warmongers," Sarah broadcast to the colony. "You said we were too violent to be free. But we are not here to hurt you. We are here to show you what happens when you choose war over peace." Captain Steve Phillips was receiving surrender messages from alien species every day. His communication center was flooded with desperate pleas from races that had seemed so confident. Just weeks ago, Nexari had sent a formal apology. The gas aliens admitted they had been wrong about humanity. They offered to trade their advanced technology for peace. They'd promised to never interfere with human colonies again. The Vorthic Collective had broken apart. The crystal beings who shared a group mind had lost contact with each other when human quantum weapons disrupted their mental connections. Individual Vorthak were contacting human ships, begging for help to reconnect with their people. Even the mighty ethereals were asking for mercy. The ancient aliens who had existed for millions of years sent a message saying they recognized humanity as a superior species. They offered to share their vast knowledge in exchange for forgiveness, but the humans were not interested in quick surrenders. They wanted the aliens to understand what their vote had really meant. Every species that had voted to enslave humanity would learn what it felt like to be helpless. Dr. Jennifer Wells was studying the alien psychology reports from her research station. She had been right about the aliens all along. They had not understood humans at all. They had thought like predators. Assuming that the strongest species would naturally rule over the weaker ones, the aliens had made their decision based on fear. They saw how quickly humans learned and adapted. They saw how fast human colonies were growing. They were afraid that humans would eventually challenge their control of the galaxy, but the aliens had completely misunderstood human nature. They thought humans wanted to conquer and rule like other species did. They did not realize that humans fought for different reasons. Humans fought for principles, for freedom, for the right to exist on their own terms. The galaxy was learning that humans were not interested in building an empire. They were interested in building a future. Every alien species that surrendered was treated fairly. Every species that tried to fight was defeated quickly and efficiently. General Lisa Rodriguez was reorganizing the old galactic military structure. The ancient system of species-based hierarchies was being replaced with something new. Instead of the strongest species ruling over the weaker ones, all species would work together as equals. The aliens found this idea confusing and frightening. They had lived for thousands of years in a system where every species knew its place. The strong commanded and the weak obeyed. It was the natural order of things, but humans had shown them a different way. Species could cooperate without one ruling over the others. They could share knowledge and resources without fighting over who got the most. They could build something better together than any of them could build alone. The Kelrani were the first to accept the new system. Cut off from their empire and unable to trade with other species, they had time to think about what they had done. They realized that their vote to enslave humanity had been wrong. The crystal beings sent a message to Earth asking for forgiveness. They offered to help build the new galactic government. They promised to treat all species as equals, not just the ones that were strong enough to fight back. The Zephyrians were next. Trapped in their gas cloud colonies, they had watched human ships patrol their territory for weeks. The humans had not attacked them, but they had made it clear that the gas aliens were completely at their mercy. The Zephyrians sent their own message of surrender. They admitted that humans were not the warmongers they had claimed to be. They said they wanted to learn from human civilization and help build a better galaxy, one by one. The alien species that had voted to subjugate Earth were learning hard lessons. They were discovering that humanity was indeed too dangerous to leave unchecked. But the danger was not that humans would destroy galactic civilization. The danger was that they would improve it beyond recognition. The war was almost over, but the real change was just beginning. The galaxy had voted to subjugate Earth, thinking they were protecting themselves from a threat. Instead, they had awakened something that would transform their entire civilization. The aliens were no longer the hunters. They had become the hunted. But the humans who pursued them offered something the aliens had never experienced before. They offered hope for a better future, where all species could live together in peace and equality. The galaxy would never be the same again, and perhaps, for the first time in millions of years, that was a good thing. The war that was supposed to destroy humanity had ended, but not the way anyone expected. The Galactic Council chambers looked completely different now. Instead of the old spiral symbol that had represented alien control for thousands of years, a new symbol hung on the wall. It was a simple picture of Earth surrounded by stars, showing that humanity was now at the center of galactic civilization. President Danny Carter stood at the podium where alien leaders used to pronounce judgment on other species. Now he was the one making the rules. The aliens who had voted to make human slaves sat quietly in their seats, waiting to hear what their future would be. Danny looked out at the assembled representatives from dozens of different species. Some were the same aliens who had been so confident 3 months ago. Others were new leaders who had replaced the old ones after their governments fell apart during the war. "Today we start something new," Danny said in a calm voice. "For too long, this galaxy has been ruled by fear. The strong have controlled the weak. The old have refused to let the young grow. Species have fought each other instead of working together. That ends now." The alien representatives listened carefully. They had expected the humans to make them into slaves, just like they had planned to do to humanity. Instead, the humans were talking about cooperation and equality. It was confusing and frightening for beings who had lived their entire lives in a system based on domination. General Lisa Rodriguez was in charge of changing the old military system. She had spent weeks meeting with alien commanders, learning about their forces and their traditions. What she found surprised her. Most of the alien military leaders were tired of fighting endless wars over territory and resources. The Kelrani commander, a crystal being named Vexcalo, had been fighting for 200 years. He had conquered dozens of planets and destroyed countless enemy fleets, but he had never seen peace. There was always another war, another enemy, another battle to fight. "Why do you fight?" Lisa asked him during one of their meetings. Vexcalo thought for a long time before answering. "Because that is what we have always done. The strong rule, the weak serve. It is the natural order." "But what if there was a different way?" Lisa asked. "What if instead of fighting each other, we worked together to build something better?" The crystal being was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "I would like to see that, but how do we know it will work?" Lisa smiled. "We don't, but we can try. And if it doesn't work, we can try something else. That's what humans do. We keep trying until we find something that works." Dr. Andrew Peterson was leading the new scientific exchange program. For the first time in galactic history, alien species were sharing their technology freely with each other. The results were amazing. The ethereals had knowledge that was millions of years old. They had learned secrets about space and time that other species could barely imagine. But they had been keeping this knowledge to themselves, using it to maintain their position as the wisest species in the galaxy. The Nexari had developed incredible energy technology. Their gas-based civilization could create power from sources that solid beings could never use. But they had only shared this technology with their closest allies, keeping it secret from potential enemies. The Vorthak had perfected group consciousness. Their ability to share thoughts and memories across their entire species had made them incredibly efficient. But they had never tried to teach other species how to develop similar abilities. Now all of this knowledge was being shared. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers, combining different approaches to create new discoveries. In just 1 month, they had made more scientific progress than the galaxy had seen in the past 1,000 years. The most surprising result was how the alien species began to change. The Vorthak, who had always shared a group mind, started to develop individual personalities. Each crystal being began to think for themselves, creating new ideas and expressing unique opinions. The ethereals, who had lived in perfect stagnation for millions of years, began to experience growth and change. They started to feel emotions they had forgotten, like curiosity and excitement about the future. The Kelrani discovered art and music. For the first time in their history, they created things that were beautiful instead of just functional. Their crystal cities began to ring with new sounds and shine with new colors. The Zephyrians learned to form lasting friendships across species lines. The gas beings had always been solitary, floating alone through space. Now they were working closely with solid beings, sharing experiences and building trust. Admiral Kate Thompson stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship, looking out at a galaxy that had been completely transformed. The space around Earth was filled with ships from dozens of different species, but they were not there to fight. They were there to learn. Young aliens came to human schools to study. They wanted to understand how humans thought and worked. They were amazed by human creativity and the way humans could solve problems that seemed impossible. Human teachers were also learning from their alien students. The ethereals taught them about patience and long-term thinking. The Nexari showed them how to work with energy in new ways. The Vorthak helped them understand the power of cooperation. The galaxy was becoming something new. Instead of a collection of competing species, it was becoming a single civilization, where everyone contributed their strengths and helped cover each other's weaknesses. Captain Helen Davis was now in charge of the new Galactic Exploration Program. Ships with mixed crews of humans and aliens were heading out to explore parts of the galaxy that had never been visited before. They were looking for new worlds, new resources, and maybe even new species to invite into their growing civilization. Helen's own ship had a crew that would have been impossible just months ago. Her second in command was a reformed Kelrani warrior. Her chief engineer was a Nexari who had designed new types of engines. Her communications officer was a Vorthak who could coordinate with multiple species at once. The crew worked together, like they had been teammates for years. The neural link technology that had given humans their advantage in the war was now being adapted to help different species communicate and cooperate better. Dr. Marcus Johnson was documenting all the changes for the historical records. He wanted future generations to understand how the galaxy had been transformed. The war had lasted only a few weeks, but the changes it brought would last forever. The most important change was in how the different species thought about each other. Before the war, each species had seen themselves as either predators or prey. They had assumed that the strongest would naturally rule over the weakest, but humans had shown them a different way. Species could work together as equals. They could share knowledge and resources without fighting over who got the most. They could build something better together than any of them could build alone. The aliens who had voted to subjugate Earth now competed for the honor of working with human crews. They wanted to learn from human teachers and contribute to human-led projects. They had discovered that cooperation was more rewarding than conquest. The final report from the Galactic Survey Commission was simple but profound. Humanity has not conquered the galaxy, it said. They have given it a future. President Danny Carter read the report in his office on Earth. Through the window, he could see ships from a dozen different species coming and going from the orbital stations. Children from different worlds were playing together in the parks. Below, scientists and artists from across the galaxy were working on projects that would have been impossible under the old system. The galaxy had voted to subjugate Earth because they feared what humanity might become. They had been right to be afraid, but wrong about what they should fear. Humanity had not destroyed galactic civilization. They had saved it from itself. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. There were still species that had not joined the new order. There were still problems to solve and challenges to overcome. But for the first time in galactic history, all the different species were working together toward a common goal. The future was bright, and it belonged to everyone. The galaxy had learned that the greatest strength was not in domination, but in cooperation. They had learned that the most dangerous species was not the one that conquered others, but the one that helped others become their best selves. Earth had won the war, but the galaxy had won something even more important. They had won a chance to build something better, something that would last for generations to come. The age of conquest was over. The age of cooperation had begun.